안녕하세요. 저는 소소입니다. 감사합니다. Hello and thank you for joining me for another reaction. This time we're checking out another MAMAMOO song. This is Starry Night. I'm of course reminded of the Van Gogh painting, Starry Night. So I'm wondering if it's maybe inspired by that, or if it's just a completely original concept, on its own. But let's check this out.
다리 밝아와 빛을 그리고 있어 내 몸에서 너만큼 욕조에 물이 미련이 돼 넘쳐 올라 한숨이 가득 그 공간을 채워 새벽이 찾아오면 혼자 남겨질 때면 Starry night 별이 빛나는 밤 네가 왜 부러워 나는 수많은 밤 나를 취하게 만들어 별이 빛나는 밤 별이 빛나는 밤 별이 빛나는 밤 겨울이 지나고 또다시 꽃이 피고 따뜻한 공기 냄새가 날 감싸 달라진 거 없는 똑같은 일상이 반복돼 그래도 내일을 기다려봐 하루의 끝에서 이 자리에 나는 서 아니 새도록 너를 그리고 있어 Do you want me to live? No 난 그 자리 그대로 까만 밤 하늘에 가려 잠시 보이지 않는 거야 새벽이 찾아오면 혼자 남겨질 때면 Starry night 별이 빛나는 밤 네가 왜 부러워 너와 나는 수많은 밤 나를 취하게 만들어 별이 빛나는 밤 우리의 풍경이 저물어가 현실을 부정해 눈을 감아 또 네가 보여 왜 아른거려 Leave me alone 무너져가네 Starry night 별이 빛나는 밤 네가 왜 부러워 너와 나는 수많은 밤 나를 취하게 만들어 별이 빛나는 밤 아빤 한번 웃으면 걱정도 개가 사라진대 그곳에서 나는 다시 삶의 길을 찾아가네
Not yet. Okay. Sorry if I mean, I'm usually smiling and stuff in my videos, but this was one of this. I think this was probably the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I'm starting to understand, you know, when people say that this group is the other vocal queens, right, or the vocal queens. Man, this is this is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen and heard. So I just was, like, sort of trying to just process all of it. It was really outstanding. I dig the guitar work in here, of course. Naturally, it was a great sound. It's a really, really gorgeous sound. Sort of a Spanish guitar type of almost like a Latin dance sort of rhythm going on, with the percussion in part of the mix. It feels very like a house mix kind of, very much sort of indie, high end production, but it's very cool. It's a very cool mix. There was some great piano hits in there. We're in 4/4 time. Quite a change up at the end. That sort of last section there that just really changed up the feel, the color of everything. Yeah, but it was kind of a sad feeling, you know what I mean? Like the feel of the song is a little listless, a little sort of make you think about things, pensive, nostalgic, a little bit somber, but the vocals are really, really incredible. Very strong, very, very clean, very clear. And like I said, I was starting to understand, what people mean when they say that MAMAMOO is the vocal queens. Also, yeah, quite a different song from the Ilela track, the first MAMAMOO song that I heard. Of course, completely different style of song. That one was very upbeat, very. It still had sort of a Latin dance type of a feel to it as far as the rhythms that were being used. But this is a completely different type of song, just totally different, and all aspects of it, the vocal work especially. Oh, it was, man, really got me feeling some kind of way. The imagery, like, it's not I mean, it's not like they were recreating crows in wheat fields or something, but it is very artistic. It is very sort of portraiture. It's it's quite stunning. It's really, really beautiful stuff, man. Just all of it. This is very impressive. Okay, so let me see. I'll try to focus in on some of the rhythms and some of the different parts here that we got. I'm going to take some moment. I was kind of wondering if my volume level was, where it should be. So we start off, the guitar enters. It sounds like we have a pickup, the first two notes, diran, and then it actually hits the first chord in the progression. We definitely have a finger style playing that's going on here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Snaps to indicate the 2 and the 4. So, giving it that pop feel again. Yeah, so we have a kick that's just going 4 on the floor. Every beat is going 1, 2, 3, 4. You get some very Latin jazz type percussion work that's going on too. Some of the fills, that wonderful sort of portamento sound that's coming from the guitar work too. When you hear it sliding, right? That's the portamento. Its style is very rich. It's very strong. Like for this particular style of song, it's very distilled. And so that's what gives it all of this emotion. It's leaning into it, but it's doing it so well. It's a little bit intoxicating. We'll say it's some big bass. There's some interesting doubling of vocals there. I'm not sure if it's two different members, but on their phrase, because they there was one and then the other, right? One line and then another line, but each of them had their voice sort of primarily featured, but there was a doubling track that was going on underneath it. It may have been accompanying by either the other member or the other two members, but it was a very, very it's a very interesting sort of pairing of these vocals, right, over to these lines. It was kind of cool, right? Because the doubling track was lower register, and it was also a bit softer on the delivery, harmonizing in a way that sort of holds up the main vocal that's going on there. It wasn't trying to match it necessarily. It's lower pitch, was filling in a space underneath it that just lifted it up. It was really, really interesting, man. Nice harmonizations here. so they man, it's wow, it's really really just so beautiful, the voices here. This yeah part, this is very it's very compressed. It's in the mix, it's being handled in a way that kind of makes it seem like it's distant, like it's as if it were a little bit farther back in the space. But the other main part that they sing before this, or in between those, man, let me hold on. Oh man, it's the harmonization there is so it's not that the voices are stacked on top of each other necessarily. It's more of a lateral distribution. So like I'm hearing certain higher tones and registers, maybe if they're outlining a chord, I'm hearing the upper parts maybe off to the side, to the left side, and as you go right, I'm starting to hear closer to the root, and it's I mean, it sounds amazing. It sounds so incredible. It's like I'm just sort of taken aback by the whole delivery and the arrangement and the approach and everything. It's really, really something else. Every time the phrase has its sort of like, it's a line that's going on, and then there's sort of not necessarily a cadence, but it's a part of the phrase that's sort of complete, and then there's another line that is the next part of the phrase, and the vocal starts as one independent line, and about halfway through it starts to get doubled with another vocal that's coming in, and then it also has, towards the end of it, the second half, they're applying a lot of like reverb to it, so you get that sort of expansion. As the vocal line starts, it's sort of thinner, and by the time it finishes, it's both doubled up by another vocal part, and the signal is very wet with reverb on it, so it expands into all of this space. It's a very cool thing, man. That voice right there, oh man, just that lower end register. See, I'm thinking earlier when I was mentioning the doubling of the parts, that sounds like one of the voices that I was picking up, that lower end, and really perfectly just holding up the higher end vocal sound, man. Oh, that piano, you hear that, like it's just, man, the production on this is insane. The vocals are incredible too, but the application of the production and this arrangement is just like, this is genius stuff, man. This is like next level mixing and mastering. Again, there's doubled vocal lines there, right? And that phrasing, you can hear very distinctly they're two different registers. They might be doing something like a unison even, if they're far enough apart in the pitches. They could be, if they're not just playing a certain interval within the chords, or just keeping about a fifth apart, probably, because it has to be at least a fifth, because it doesn't really have like a change in the quality of the chord that you can feel. So it's like power chords or something. The way they're moving together, it's a consistent interval. So, but it's not like indicating a shift, and it's like a minor to a major sort of tonality to it. But it's so like tight. It's so perfect. It's a perfect pairing of these different vocal lines that's going on.
우리의 풍경이 저물어가 현실을 부정해 눈을 감아 또 네가 보여 왜 아른거려 Leave me alone
Oh, that piano. Good.
Starry night 별이 빛나는 밤 네가 왜 부러워 너와 나는 수많은 밤 나를 취하게 만들어 별이 빛나는 밤
Totally different feel for this part here. I don't know if this is necessarily part of the original track, or if it's done for the purposes of the video, but we totally shifted from a sort of fingerstyle guitar sound to a clean electric guitar sound. It's definitely not fingerstyle. That you don't get a rake like that's a pick that's being used, and it's almost like a jazz infused sort of R&B feel. Now, I mean, it's a completely different feel, style, and everything.
아빤 한번 웃으면 걱정도 걔가 사라진대 그곳에서 나는 다시 삶의 길을 찾아가네
Oh man, that's one of the most beautiful things that I've ever heard. Like, hands down, that was incredible. This is just not only this amazing voices, this incredible voices, and the way that they're using them, the specific pairings of this member singing with that member, and then the way that their harmonization is being arranged in the mix. The mix is next level stuff, man. This mix is just like I said, this is genius level stuff on everything, on the talent, on the vocal talent, on the production talent, the mixing, and everything in this is just like it's so perfect, man. It's so perfect. Like, oh man, it feels good. Like it's sweet, and it's a little bit sad, but it's so beautiful and rich, and it's so satisfying. It's like it's something you just want to just be wrapped up in, and just like, man, even at the end there, just the way that change up in that last section, the way it ended was just, it was just so perfect. It was just so soft and sweet and light, and the vocal got a little breathier, a little airier, right? As the final yeah, a callback to the earlier verse or chorus sections rather. But the change in the color, it was a completely different feel, but no less beautiful than the entire rest of the song. Oh man, this was really good. Like, it's I feel kind of like warm inside, I don't. It's a little bit cold here, but this song, has me feeling almost like warm inside, a little bit of longing. There's a lot of emotion in this song, but it's incredible. It's like I said, this is one of the most beautiful things that I've ever heard. What a complete contrast from the first song that I heard from MAMAMOO. Yeah, this is it's still really, really amazing. It's really amazing. I guess I just can't wait to see what else they do, because so a little bit of consistency in those sort of Latin inspired rhythms, but still two completely different like worlds from the first song to this song. And I'm just wondering, like, what else they do, because it's like almost most of the spectrum that you could cover, right? So it's like everything in between, and anything that is even farther out. So I'm really looking forward to hearing more. Like I said, I get it now. I understand why they're also referred to as the vocal queens. Yeah. MAMAMOO Starry Night. One of the most beautiful things that I've ever heard.